Iron Man 3 will go down in history as the absolute worst of all the Marvel movies, except Ghost Rider, and Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man 3, and X-Men Origins Wolverine, and Daredevil, and Electrica, and Howard the Duck.
Cut! Action!
Iron Man 3 is a decent movie. It's not bad, but it's not great. Nobody is going to build $1 million shrine to it and form a cult that worships it 5 times a day. But it's not going to force moviegoers into mass suicide. It exists in the no man's land where I can neither recommend it nor discourage you from seeing it. So what's the plot of the movie? Well, I'll tell you, but I first need you to do something for me. I need you to forget everything that you saw in the trailers for this movie. Did you forget it? Pause the video until you do. You still remember it, don't you? Fine, I'll just try and work around it. Okay, so you might think that this movie is all about Tony Stark fighting the evil terrorist known as the Mandarin, who throws society into chaos with his coordinated attacks and pushes Tony Stark beyond his physical and emotional limits, right? This movie is actually about exploding people. You see, there are these evil people who are capable of turning into lava monsters and spitting fire. The downside to being them is that they sometimes explode. One of these guys seriously injures Tony's bodyguard, Happy, so Tony goes off to find out who they were working for and get revenge. So are they working for the Mandarin, you ask? No, I say. You are still remembering the trailer. Stop it. You see, the Mandarin is in this movie, and he is a villain, but he is sort of a side villain. Remember when the Spider-Man 3 trailers promised that we'd finally get to see Spidey fight Venom? But in the end, he only got 10 minutes of screen time? The same trickery is on display here. It's called bait and switch, and this movie's box office returns will feel the backlash once word gets out. The fact that the Mandarin is barely in this is going to make a lot of people mad. In fact, I noticed a lot of angry people in the theater that I attended, and I can't blame them for being angry. Personally, I didn't mind very much because you foreigners let me know on every IMDb review and Rotten Tomatoes forum that didn't have the courtesy to put spoiler alert in case an American was casually scrolling by looking for the box office results! I didn't mind so much, but what frustrated me were the endless plot contrivances. I'm bound as a movie reviewer to keep this spoiler free. Unlike you Europeans on IMDb, I hope somebody rips out! So, I'll have to be vague here. Tony Stark makes a very stupid decision in the first act that makes absolutely no sense story-wise, but the writers use it to get the plot going. Shortly after, Jarvis makes a very stupid separate decision that makes no sense story-wise, but is used to get the plot going. And by the halfway point, the plot is going, but Tony and Jarvis look like idiots, and we are thinking, well, why couldn't they just do this, or why couldn't they just do that? The movie becomes a giant mess of bad writing and plot contrivances by the end. But there are things to like about this movie. The action scenes are very invented and well staged, particularly the Air Force One rescue sequence and the final battle on the oil rig. The dialogue is zippy and full of one-liners, and Robert Downey Jr. is still a lot of fun as Tony Stark. These positive aspects manage to even out most of the negative ones, and the final product is decent, like I said. I certainly wouldn't rush out to the theater to see this, but at a matinee price or as a rental, it's a decent enough time. Overall, I give this movie a 6 out of 10. Do with that what you will.